All right, we're live now. Welcome back, everybody, to another Ubuntu Community Team Q&A. We do these every week where we try and give you an update on the things that have been going on in the Ubuntu world and take any questions that you might have and try and answer them to the best we can live on the air. If you are watching this on ubuntuonair.com, then right below the video here, you should see an embedded IRC window. That's where you can go to ask your questions. Start them with the word question in all caps, and that way it turns bright yellow on my IRC client and I don't miss it. If you don't do that, there's a chance that I might not see your question and just go on past it. Today we've got guests from the Ubuntu QA team. That's quality assurance. They are at a sprint this week, so Nick Skaggs, who's on the community team, is there with them. And we've also got Leo here. So if you have any questions about QA, continuous integration, testing, that kind of thing, let's go ahead and start with them because they have to get back to their regularly scheduled meetings after the first half hour of this. So we've already got quite a few that have come in before the video started. We'll go back and start with those. So Elfie starts it off. He says, up to early December, when he went to jenkins.qa.ubuntu.com, blah, 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 Xubuntu, to check how my images were faring, it gave some indication of whether an image at least got through basic testing. That is now still showing fails from over 5 months ago. What gives? Any plans to get visible reports back?
Okay. You want to answer it, Leo?
I did want to answer.
You don't want to? Leo's going to make me answer all the questions.
No, there's the ones.
It's a good question, Elfie, and we have a thread, although it's kind of died on the mailing list. What actually happened was the server that was running on was accidentally removed, which about 5 months ago, as you can see, which is why the build stopped, and it's not been replaced yet. So that's the real issue. As far as when we might see that back, I'm not sure. You can sort of reply to the mailing list thread. The answer is I don't know. So we have to find another machine to run those on, and I think the tests themselves also might need a little work. So that's kind of a big question, but it's a good question. It's something that I would like to get settled, I suppose, before we start the alpha milestones again for this cycle. So
yeah, we need to get better at handling all the requests that are incoming, because, well, many teams from Canonical are doing a lot of infrastructure, a lot of testing, and we get requests to CI to get the services, the servers, and the jobs running the tests, and we get requests on the QA team to help with the tests. But currently there are just too many, and to be honest, I have never touched those Xubuntu tests. But we need to get better at receiving all the requests and making a prioritization of them. And if it's 5 months old, that's something we should put high on the list and give you a hand with that. But let's try, now that we are here, the whole team is meeting, we can make that an item for the close future, and we will help in any way we can.
And Nick, do you know who's leading the RT or whatever is tracking getting that new server up? Somebody that Elfie can talk to get an ETA on that?
Yes.
We might have Max joining us. No, I'm not exactly sure. The issue in question there is that as with most things, it needs something special. It needs to be a real server, and those are hard to come by. So it's not something that can be done on the cloud. We do have Max. Hooray! Let's get Max a chair.
Hello, Max.
He's in the bed. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Somebody let him know we're already on the air.
Yeah.
All right.
You just did.
You are out of it.
I told Max if he showed up, he would probably get a question about his hair, so don't disappoint me.
Can you see it?
I hope so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It seems to be slightly different than my hair color.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he lost a bet or something.
I mean, I lost the bet where I bet myself I wouldn't get my hair colored again.
That
I
one.
don't recall making that bet. So
All right. Well, moving along, Elfie's got another long question. I don't know if, Nick, you've got this in your IRC backlog.
I see.
But it says, a while back, Canonical made the decision to not take part during milestones until the final beta. That's evidently caused him some extra work to flag things that affect flavors like Ubuntu. Is the final beta only going to continue for Ubuntu?
The short answer is yes. I don't see us going backwards on that. I know to some extent the flavors have changed how they participate in milestones as well. I think more and more flavors are starting to see value in having one or two less milestones. For instance, Alpha 1 is often pretty light nowadays. I think it makes sense to try and align your milestones around your development. So if there's not a lot of changes happening early in the cycle, or if there are a lot of changes happening, whatever it is, it makes sense to sort of line up and coordinate. I think I've been happy to see different folks go ahead and lead those milestones. So I've been excited to see collectively the flavors take charge and take ownership of actually putting out the milestone, asking for participation, and then publishing documentation and the release stuff. And so I think the release team and you guys have done an excellent job on making sure that that's actually working and that the process is working quite well. But ultimately, you should do what works for you. So if milestones work for you and participating in all of them work for you, then that's good. I am sorry that there are less people around, but I don't see us going backwards on participating in earlier milestones. If there is something we could do, that's maybe a mailingless discussion. If maybe there's a better way of triaging bugs or flagging things, that's something we could talk about. But I don't see us participating in milestone testing.
No, so related to the question, more like trying to avoid it again. We're investing a lot in trying to make sure that the archive is clean. So testing things in an automated way when an update is made to the archive. That should help every distribution and everything down the line, because the quality of the archive, the quality of the packages you install, it's going to be tested and asserted. So we still have the hard task of making sure that all those packages integrated, work well, and can be installed into a new computer, for example. But we're trying to go earlier in the process and make it a little more sustainable, like less need for manual testing and installation testing if we put those tests before the things are updated.
Okay, I hope that answered your question, Elfie. If not, go ahead and rephrase it. I'm going to skip down a few. Again, as I mentioned earlier, these guys have to move on to other meetings after the half-hour mark, so I'm going to try and get through anything that's QA and testing related first. So if I skipped your question and it's not QA related, don't worry, I will come back to it after we get through these. Let's see, the next one is from Wixel. He asks, is there going to be any more organized official community testing for touch phone beyond exploratory testing like there is for every other image?
You guys want to take that?
I can take that one.
Sure.
And currently we are like organizing the test documents and organizing also the test we do inside the company. We can't yet tell people to participate in the formal testing experiment because things are changing. But once we make sure that the process works, that we can like make a sample release and give the test cases to some people in our team, then we can just open the process and find some ways to import those tests into the community testing tools and gather feedback, gather results, and that would be a lot more efficient, and it would be really appreciated if we can get more hands helping us with this testing.
We're also in the process of refining some automation tools for some of our most basic testing that we do on every image before it's considered for promotion. I think the more hands we can get those tests into, the more capabilities we'll have to report bugs based on those. And sort of our goal at the moment is to make it as painless of a process as possible, so that if you've just got a device laying around and you've got 10 minutes, you can run one command and get some useful results.
So at the moment, though, what do you think is the best way for someone to participate if they want to sort of do more than just running the phone and reporting bugs that they might find?
Writing tests is really useful. I mean, you don't need to be an expert programmer, and we have helped some people with just basic Python knowledge to write nice tests that we still keep around. So if you can write tests, come and ping us, and we will help you getting started. About manual testing, I think we need to discuss about this process. Like, there are some really useful things. Go through the docs, try the examples in there. If there is something broken in the docs, report a bug. There's the help application and all those things. That helps everybody if we get more hands exercising those applications.
I think from my perspective as well, we don't want to understate the usefulness of really just using the phone in different situations and generating different types of data. Most of the testing that we do on an automated basis starts from a freshly installed phone with a minimal or no user data. So if you're really carrying around and using it for a week, you have the potential to run into bugs that we will hit in some of our testing. But basically, the more people are generating, taking pictures, sending messages, doing emails, visiting different web pages, just all of the daily regular use we can get is increased potential for different things to interact in ways we didn't expect.
Right. So I think that is fair to say, to not understate the importance, especially if you have if you're a tester and you have sort of that testing mindset. You know how to poke things and prod, and certainly that's exploratory testing. Excuse me, is not something to be understated. Actually using the device and having lots of good stuff in there, and your brain, those are good tools.
And anyone with testing experience can say, "Oh, there's something wrong. What do I do to make this happen again? How can I file a good bug report with good recreate steps so that we can produce this same error in a lab and get a fix for it?"
Questions?
All right. The next question is for Max, I'm assuming, from Aikidoki. I don't know. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but I like it that way. His question is, if he colors the hair and beard, is that convergence?
Yes.
What do you say, Max? Are we going to get them both?
So we're still working on landing some things in Snappy to facilitate that.
Those are all the questions specific to QA that we've got so far. Do you guys want to talk for a minute about what you're doing this week, what problems you've got on your list to solve?
Go for it. Do you want to start, Max?
Okay, so I'm mostly working on power test automation. We've got a nice digital power meter hooked up to some of the phones we're shipping, and we run through a series of basic tasks, including, just using the phone to listen to music, watch a video, view a web page, operate the GPS. We basically, on each image, we run through all of those on an automatic basis to detect how much power each of those activities is using, so that if there's any significant regression in that, we can try to catch that before we push out an image, so we don't really ever want to send out an update that's going to hurt people's battery life. So we've got a lot of aggressive automatic steps to make sure we're monitoring that usage, and we can try to continuously improve it. And our goal is to be, for all those activities, better than Android on the same hardware as well.
Right. So I think there was a YouTube video, and right, Max?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a YouTube video out there. If you check, I think Ubuntu QA's Google Plus feed. I think I reshared that. You should be able to find it. There's a nice little video of Max demoing that. And so those of you who have a Krillin device, as you know, I think it was 3.3 or maybe 3.4, one of the OTAs had a huge, significant bump in battery life, and that was sort of part of the outcome of doing this automated testing.
Yeah, we've done a lot of work in particular with the kernel team on just improving our ability to suspend the device as often as possible without hampering the user experience.
I'm mostly concerned about the tests from the point of view of the user. We have automated like 1,000 tests, a little more, with help from the community, with help from the QA team and the developers. Those are tests for applications in isolation. We need to work to make those tests maintainable. It's not an easy task to keep them running, keep them always green. But we also want to use what those tests give us. That's the ability to control an application and all the features that that application gives to an user in combination with other application. So we are investing on even higher level tests. Like you flash your phone, you finish the wizard, you finish the tutorial, and you install an application. Tests like that, exercises, it's like 10 different branches, 10 different projects, and 3 servers. And well, it will give us a nice idea if the image is ready for consumption or not. But well, you can imagine that the test space is so big that so many things can go wrong. We are investing on Autopilot, the tool we use to automate those tests, to make sure that the errors are more understandable, and we're extending it to support some harder cases that we found when we mixed the code bases between 2 different projects. And that's basically it, working on making the existing automation sustainable.
Right, and there was a lovely video for those of you who were at UOS, and maybe for those of you who weren't. If you want to go ahead and go to summit.ubuntu.com, you'll see all of the sessions from the last UOS, which was just a few weeks ago. And Leo and Chris, who is actually a lead developer for Autopilot, actually gave an excellent session on what we call Autopilot helpers. And these are little tools that you can use when you're writing tests to make your life really easy. So that huge use case you talked about testing across all those different projects and different things. From a user perspective, I'm just swiping this, clicking here, tapping that. But that was a lot of work behind the scenes to make that easily testable. And so for any test writers, then these helpers sort of make it easy for you to issue those same commands in a sane way. So the test case for what he was talking about was very, very short. Like I said, 10, 12 lines. And you could explain it just as easily as he did there. But the behind the scenes, the back end code for all of that was a lot of work to make that magic, if you will, happen. And so those test cases are now able to be more and more easily written. And so we can see more and more complicated test cases that bring in those types of user actions that go across applications. So instead of just opening an application and testing it, we can test interactions between the applications, sending files, opening things with Content Hub, whatever it is. We can actually write a user story for it and get a test case. I see cat dev random to balloons, Michael.
He does have a direct feed.
My brain is exploding now.
All right, so where are you guys this week anyway?
Well, this is someplace that might be slightly familiar to you, Mike, because you were here last year and you live very close. We're in Orlando.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Somebody should have told me. I'd have driven over and said hi.
Yes, I was actually going to offer the invite live. We'll be here all week.
Even though you and I live just a couple hours away, Nick, we only see each other at sprints.
That's correct.
We need to have a global jam or a release party or something.
Yes, Florida Loco. I planned on wanting to do one for the last release, and then release time came, and I was so busy. Springtime is very busy. I think fall's just a lot easier, so we'll have to for Wiley. Plus, Wiley is a much more fun name. So.
There you go. Vivid was just too boring.
Vivid is just way too boring. You know, Wiley, I can do a lot more with it. So.
All right, we've got one more question from Wixel. It says, same question about touch above for Snappy. How can average Joes and Janes contribute to testing much in the way that testing for desktop images has a low point of entry? So what's the easiest way for people to get involved testing Snappy stuff?
Yeah, that's an excellent question.
Yeah, again, the documentation, you will find it. You will find some documentation on ubuntu.com, some documentation on developer.ubuntu.com, or just search Snappy Ubuntu and you will hit to those pages. Those are nice guys of setting up the image and putting it in a virtual machine or in a BeagleBone or on a Raspberry Pi. Right. So that's like how you start learning, and it will help us polishing this process. There are still some rough edges and some errors that people might find when flashing their boards that we haven't discovered yet. So that would be extremely helpful. Go through the documentations. If something's not clear, ping people in the Snappy channel, and we will get it improved. There are some more complex things, but the idea in Snappy will be the base of all Ubuntu. So we want it to be bulletproof, and we want it to be fully automated. So you will find a project in Launchpad called Snappy Self-Tests. And what it does is to flash the image into a device and do cool things like rebooting it or putting a broken image and trying to update to that broken image, and then testing that we fall back to the original one. We are extending that suite. So again, if you know programming, your help will be really appreciated getting in there. It's, again, not hard. So if you just have a basic idea of how to program, just go and ping us and we will give you a hand.
How about Snappy apps themselves? Is there anything like auto package test for Snappy? Is it even needed for Snappy?
Snappy is like the extension or version 2.0 of Click. So it will have a way to specify the auto package tests. We haven't defined that format yet. We don't have many applications at this point, but that will happen soon. I hope a week or two. We will have a way to specify an package test for Snappy, and that would be really useful too, to get people like writing applications and writing tests for those applications is what we want. We want Snappy to be a development platform, like something you can use to break things and to learn things and to do cool stuff. So we want to enable people to be able to test all those things, and we are defining that part of the process. The idea, there are many ideas. We will start implementing some of the others need a lot of discussion, but join the Snappy channel and you will be involved in those discussions if you're interested.
All right. If there are any other questions for the QA guys, you need to go ahead and ask them in the IRC now. Otherwise, they're going to have to be leaving soon. Do you guys want to give a pitch for contributors and tell them where to go to get started and who to talk to get started?
Well, I was just going to reiterate what Leo said about Snappy. If quality and testing is something really interesting to you, and Snappy sort of excites you as well, or you just want and enjoy new things, Snappy is definitely a brave new world. So that is literally one of the best things you can do, is literally just go through the documentation, and hopefully you'll have to try a little bit to break things, but you'll probably find something, and that would be really helpful. And in the process, you'll learn, and then you can sort of get more involved. So really joining up to the Snappy IRC channel, joining the Snappy mailing list, and getting involved, you're getting in on the ground floor, and so you can definitely help shape the testing story for Snappy. if the phone is something of more of interest to you, and you want to have a play with Ubuntu Touch, the best way to get involved there is from either, if you have a device, as we talked about earlier, playing around with the device, and at some point soon, hopefully we'll be able to inherit the process that these guys have been working on, and their team has been working on for some time now, for actual manual testing, and for test cases and that sort of thing, and reporting back. But in the interim, using the device with real user data day in, day out, and applying your sort of testing knowledge to poke and prod things that you think might cause potential issues. And if you watch, you'll see the Ubuntu phone mailing list. Make sure you're subscribed to that. Lucas and the CI guys release the updates for each image. When that new stuff comes out, that's the place to go look. That's the place to go try and break things or make sure the new stuff works. So that's really the best way to be involved from exploratory testing. On the flip side, if you want to write tests, we would love to have you. You can write tests across any of the projects that we've been talking about. Most cases, we'll be using Autopilot for high-end functional automated testing across all of the projects. But there's lower-level tests that you can do. So if Autopilot scares you, or it's not something that Python isn't your cup of tea, we write tests in lots of other languages as well. QML tests is a great example. We have tests in C, C++, and other lower-level languages. Unit tests are nice and easy, and definitely something that you can get involved in. So don't be shy. There's plenty of opportunities on either side.
We are hanging all day in Ubuntu-quality.
Yes.
Freenode. I'm Elopio, and Max is Nuclear Bob. And we even have our rotation, so the channel is never alone, or almost never. So all of your ideas or your offers to help, or your requests for help, or if you want to get started and learn a new cool thing, we will teach you about testing. So just join the channel. We'll talk. You can keep my computer.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming on and answering all these questions. Feel free to hang around as long as you can, or if you need to run off to another meeting, go have fun with that. I'm going to go back up to the top of the list of questions again and start answering the ones that we missed last time around.
All right. So yes, we do have to run, but thank you guys.
All right. Thanks, Max. Thanks, Leo. Thanks, Nick.
See you.
All righty. Again, any other questions, keep getting them in. I'm going to answer as many of them as I can before the end of the hour. So going all the way back to the beginning, Elfie had a question. He asked, when you all get really excited about Snappy, is that going to mean that flavors not going that way get sidelined? What's going to happen if we're worrying about something Ubuntu isn't? So Ubuntu is going to continue shipping a regular distro based on deb packages, just like we always have been. That's the plan for the foreseeable future. There's no plans right now to stop doing that. So everything that we'd done before, everything that lined up with flavors before is still going to be there. It's still going to line up. So that's still going to exist. But we also would really like to see flavors take advantage of Snappy, because we do think that it's a good way to go forward. It's going to improve things for more than just Ubuntu and Unity desktop. There's no reason it can't be used for Xubuntu and Kubuntu and Ubuntu GNOME. It's not strongly tied to Unity in any way, so any other flavor can take advantage of it, and we hope that they will, because there's a lot of advantage to that. But we're not going to stop focusing on the current way of doing things and what we do for flavors. If you do feel that attention isn't being paid to the places it needs to be paid attention to in order to support flavors, then that's a bug that needs to be fixed. Bring it up with whatever development team's involved. Bring it up with the Ubuntu community team at Canonical. Bring it up to the community council, any of those, if you do feel that there's something that's taken a wrong turn there. All right, Aikidoki asked, how long do we expect Unity 7 to be maintained? So the current plan is for there to be a Unity 7 desktop image for 1604. So that means that Unity 7 is going to be maintained and supported for at least 5 years out from next year. That's going to get bug fixes. It'll get security fixes. It's not likely to get much feature work. Unity 7 hasn't had a whole lot of feature work in the past year and two anyway. There's been some minor fixes here and there to improve it. There will probably continue to be some minor feature improvements, but the bulk of it's just going to be bug fixing and security fixes. But that is going to be around for a while yet. All right, Aikidoki again asks, how will packaging things like non-free video drivers work with Snappy? That was one of the things that came up during the Ubuntu Online Summit a couple weeks back. So if you go to summit.ubuntu.com and look through some of those sessions, I wasn't in that one, so I don't know what the solution was that they came up with. But I do know that it's a question that has come up before and one that they were looking at some different options on how to solve. So again, that's summit.ubuntu.com. You can use the search feature there to find anything Snappy related, or just look through the core track. That's probably where that session would be. Growlike asks, please tell, will MX4 be available in June in Europe? When will be another flash sale in China? So the MX4 has just been made available to developers in China. I don't know what the criteria is they're using to single out developers, but it is a very limited release in China right now. I don't know exactly when it's going to be released in Europe, but it should be sometime soon, and I think that's going to be a general availability, so it's not going to be just for developers or flash sales. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly when that is going to happen, but since they are starting to make it available to developers in China, I expect it to be fairly soon. DS McGuire asks, what happened to the new design for the headers on Ubuntu Touch? One day they were there, and the next they were gone. So that actually, it broke my app, my uReddit app, when they landed that. I had to make some fixes. I get the feeling it broke some other stuff. It landed, as far as I know, just in the developer post channel. It was never promoted. So that was backed out until they can fix those bugs and make sure that we don't break existing apps. That, I believe, will be in the next framework release, which will be the Ubuntu SDK 15.10. And I think it's Ubuntu Components 1.3. So those will be coming back. I don't think the designs are changing so much as it is just making sure that we don't break anything with the API itself. Elephants is asking, is Snappy Ubuntu Core Fun Pack available for sale? I don't know what that is. Is this an actual thing, the Ubuntu Core Fun Pack? If it is, give me a link to it, because I haven't heard of that. All right, Wixel is that. Oh no, we answered that one already in QA stuff. So go down a little bit. DS McGuire asks, when can I in the UK get an Ubuntu MX4? Again, that should be coming soon. I'm assuming general availability in Europe means that you'll be able to get it in the UK also. I do know it's not going to cover the US, so I'm going to have to wait a bit longer before I've got a phone that I can buy directly. DS McGuire again asks, how long after applying for an Ubuntu membership should I expect to hear something back from it? So the way you apply for Ubuntu membership is you add your name to the next membership board meeting list on IRC. I think somebody posted a link to that down a little bit from his question. So you put your name on there, and the next time the membership board meets, they go through that list of people and review their applications. They should be reviewing them, just reviewing the wiki page ahead of time so that they're familiar with it. But they'll ask you questions during that meeting, get more information if they need it. If they feel your application isn't strong enough, they'll give you advice on areas to improve it. So they meet twice a month, I think. There's 2 or 3 different membership boards based on different time zones. So pick one that you can attend and add your name to their list, and you'll be on the next meeting for them. All right, that's a repeat question. Going down, going down. Chloe Wolfie Girl asked, will Snappy snap at us? No, Snappy is very friendly. Snappy is far more friendly than deb packages or RPM packages. So no worries there. Oh, Wixel had a question on testing, and those guys have already left. What about tests in Common Lisp? Well, it's Common Lisp, so I'm assuming that it can do anything, because that's what I've heard about Lisp. So yeah, I'm sure you could write testing in that. Give it a try. Let's see what happens. Chameleon asks, what about tests for Zen? That I don't know about. You can jump into #Ubuntu-quality and poke balloons, or any of the other guys that were on, or anyone in that channel really, and ask them that. I'm not familiar at all with Zen, so I can't really say. Chameleon again asks, when will we see something like the Casper Live CD ISO for Snappy? I don't think that's necessarily something that the Snappy images are meant to do. They're really meant to be more device-specific things where you don't have an install step. So for example, on the phones, there's not an installer that you go through. You have a device image that you just flash directly onto that. For the desktop, there might be enough overlap that they have a live environment like that. I don't know what the plan is on that, though. It would probably be pretty similar to how it is now, because we're producing an ISO image. It's not really all that different from producing a Snappy image. So I would imagine that we will continue to have some kind of live DVD functionality for the desktop, even when it goes to Snappy. But that's actually an interesting question, because I haven't heard that being discussed yet. You can go talk to Will Cook in #Ubuntu-desktop and see what his plans are for that. He may have already started working on that, and I just haven't heard about it. Wixel again asks, how exactly do flavors start integrating Snappy? Taking all their particular packages and making snaps out of them? So there's two things to do to make a Snappy version of a flavor. The first is to create a image for the OS. So it's basically what you would put on a DVD, just turned into an image file. There are system image servers, like we have CD image servers, where you can upload that. And that way people would be able to just flash that image directly onto their device. So if somebody's got like a Raspberry Pi, you can make a Ubuntu image for Raspberry Pi. I think there might be one for Ubuntu Mate. I saw that there's images for it, but I don't know if it's Snappy based. The way they're being built, as far as I know, there's a seeds file. So just like when you're building the ISO, you've got a list of seed packages from the archives that pull in all the deb packages, install them in a change root or something, and then that becomes your base image. So that's essentially all that a Snappy image is. There's some other stuff in there to make it snappy-ish, add the Snappy tools, that kind of thing. But so you can make a Snappy Ubuntu image that will have, the base Ubuntu, XFCE, all of your configurations. And, if you've got some specific apps that you want to always be there, you can put them in that. And then the other apps that you want to include, you can turn those into snap packages and put them in the store so that people can easily install those. You can either reuse the same frameworks that regular Ubuntu does, or you can define your own Xubuntu framework that says, okay, it's got Ubuntu, plus it's got these other XFCE libs for apps that need those. I don't remember the apps in Ubuntu having specific dependencies on XFCE, so you may not need to do a specific framework for that. But having an Xubuntu image that I can flash onto a Raspberry Pi would be a nice thing to have. All right, Nightmare asks, is there any development that can be done for the phone in Python? There is, but you have to include Python with your app. So there have been a couple of people, they post quite a bit on Google+, that have figured out how to package a Python library that includes the execution environment for Python in with their app, and they've got it linking to QML bindings for Python. So they actually write their app in Python, the front end's all in QML and calls back into that, and it's all in a click package without any other dependencies. So that works very nice. I don't remember off the top of my head who that was. Yeah, I don't remember. Go to the Ubuntu App Developers Google Plus community and ask in there. I know they're in there frequently, so they'll see your question and answer it. But yes, it is possible. All right, another repeat from Gralik. Elephants has a link to this Ubuntu Fun Pack. Let me load that up and see what it is. And while that loads, sorry, Google Hangouts really slow down everything on my computer. All right, Chloe Wolfie Girl asks, how will Canonical advertise Ubuntu Touch and Ubuntu Desktop to the public to make them more aware of Ubuntu? So Canonical has always relied on word of mouth and community for public advertisement and promotion. We go to conferences and trade shows and things like that, but we don't do public advertising. We don't put ads in newspapers or magazines. We don't buy TV ads or anything like that. So we rely on you guys in the community to spread the word, either directly, friends to friends, by attending different conferences. I was at the Southern California Linux Expo Scale back in February, and we had a tremendous turnout from the local Ubuntu community there. And all of those guys I know are active in their local areas talking about Ubuntu, helping people get started in Ubuntu. There's a group out there, Partimus, that actually goes and gets Ubuntu used in different schools. So they'll put it on their old computers so that they don't have to upgrade to new PCs to run the latest version of Windows. So there's all kinds of things that we rely on the community doing to help spread the word on that. And we're going to continue doing that because it's worked out really well for us so far. Our community is certainly the best asset that Canonical has, both in terms of development and also in promotion. All right, let's see if that page loaded yet. There it is. All right, so we've got a Raspberry Pi 2, Pi Glow. Looks like a popcorn bag that it came in, and a box that I don't know what it contains. So, I've not heard of that. That's pretty cool, though. I have no idea how to get one. Respond to that tweet and figure out how to get one. And then let us all know, because that looks pretty awesome. I'd like one. All right, DS McGuire is asking, do you know whether the minimum price of an app in the App Store dropped to something lower? I want to charge a small fee for apps I am creating, but $1.99 is too much to ask. So our problem right now is volume. We could get a lower rate if we were selling more apps. The more apps we sell, the lower rate we can negotiate with the company that processes all of this. Right now, with the volumes that we've had, this is the lowest that we can offer without losing money on each transaction. So that's kind of where we're stuck at right now. Hopefully with the phones out now and convergence coming and all kinds of new device opportunities coming up, that will start to improve. The new store and the fact that it's so much easier to get apps in the store is going to grow tremendously. So between those two things, hopefully our volume of sales will go up enough that we can get a much lower price. Ideally, we would like to bring it down to the 99 cents level that people are used to having as the lower bound for app sales. But that's all going to just depend on how well things go. Chloe asked, do you know if when we'll get Bitcoin support in the store, and could you integrate the payment with a Bitcoin app? I know this is something that people have been asking about for a while. They've been asking about it with the desktop store too. I don't know if there's any plans or any work going on right now to support that. Another thing that people have been asking for quite a bit is a pay what you want option in the store. And I think that one might be might be a higher priority than Bitcoin at the moment. The nice thing about Bitcoin is that it's generally easy enough to convert it to something like PayPal to be able to buy stuff from the store that way. Chloe Wolfie Girl again. What will happen to apps I paid for in the current Ubuntu store with Unity 8 and the new store? I'm not entirely sure. I do know that when you purchase an app in the store, we retain a record of that with your user account so that we can give you that app again without you having to repay for it if you did a clean install or something like that. And we do plan on supporting all of the legacy apps in Unity 8 on the desktop. So the only real question is, will we be able to download and install apps from the old store on Unity 8, or will we have to convert all of those to Snap packages? My guess is that we're going to have to convert all of those to Snap packages to make them available in Unity 8. The person to talk to for that is Martin Albacetti. He's Beuno, B-E-U-N-O, on IRC. He can tell you all about any plans for any development going on in the App Store itself. Wixel asks, is there any documentation anywhere about making a flavor Snappy image? I don't think there's anything specific to flavors. There's some documentation on making custom Snappy images. The one that you're going to be most interested in for flavors is the Snappy personal image, which I don't think we've actually got a released image for yet, but that's going to include everything in Ubuntu core, the core Snappy core image, plus the graphical layer. So it'll have mirror and XMirror and LightDM and all that kind of stuff that you're going to want for a flavor. So that's probably what you're going to want to use for your base. There was talk about seeing if we can let flavors add their customization as just a Snap app that contained its own frameworks and everything. But I don't know if they decided that was going to be possible or not. If you join #Snappy on Freenode, you can ask that question and see how far they've gotten along with that. But it should be just a matter of following the instructions for making a regular Snappy system image and just including the packages that you want to be in it. All right, Gralak has asked the same question 4 times now. Gralak, I did answer earlier. I hope you saw that. MX4 should be available in Europe sometime soon. I don't know the exact date. Elephants has, he says that the Snappy Fun Pack is being given away for free at the Ubuntu booth in IoT World. So that may just have been something that they put together for booth swag. That may not be something that you can get anywhere else. The Chameleon, has anyone been looking at a Stripe or Coinbase for micropayments? I don't know that we have. Again, Beuno's the guy to talk to about that. His team is the one that's developing the App Store and the back end and payment processing and all of that. So he will have answers for anything like that. And since we do have so many questions about it, maybe we'll try and get him on next week to answer them. Nightmare asks, will 1604 have support for high-resolution displays like 4K? So you should have that already for Unity, at least to the extent that we can. I know there was work that went into Compiz and the Unity plugin for that to support high-resolution screens, at least in things like the dash, the launcher, and the window decorations. For the apps themselves, that's going to require support in the specific toolkits that they use. I think Qt has it now, and I think GTK, the latest GTK, might have it now. So things will likely improve going towards 1604 on that end. But again, there's not going to be a whole lot of feature work anymore on Unity 7. Most of it's on Unity 8. And Unity 8 already supports all kinds of different resolutions and screen sizes. The Ubuntu UI toolkit by default supports all these different resolutions and screen sizes. So going forward using that, that's all going to just work out of the box and look really well. Geek 500 has asked, without starting it with a question, and again, please start it with the word question in all caps, because that does, again, turn it yellow on my IRC client so I don't miss it. But Geek 500 asks, is anything happening with Ubuntu for TV? Nothing is happening on that right now. That was kind of put on the shelf when we switched over to working on the phones. We were hoping to get some OEM buy-in on Ubuntu TV. But when we came out with it, there was a lot of interest, but nobody actually willing to commit to producing one. So as soon as we got BQ and Meizu committed to shipping an Ubuntu phone, we switched all of our focus there to make sure that we had a product that they could ship. Now, that said, all of the work that we've done on convergence is going to apply to the TV. If you remember, TV was kind of the first convergence device that we started prototyping for. So all of the work that we've done on phone and all of the work we're doing now for Unity 8 on the desktop is all going to come back to the TV eventually. So the foundations are being laid. The foundations that weren't there 3 years ago when we started the TV are being laid now, so that when the time comes and we've got phones out and we've got Unity 8 desktop out, then we can turn our attention again to the TV, and we'll have a much better platform to build on top of at that point. Chloe asks, will Ubuntu on the phone be a bit neglected when making Unity 8 desktop exclusive features that you'd only be able to use on desktop or converged devices? It's not going to be neglected, and there's still plenty of work for us to do on the phone. There's still a lot of designs the design team has made that need to be implemented for the phone as well as the desktop. So there's going to be a lot of work going on both. We're going to be focusing a lot more on the desktop now because we have been focused on phone for so long. There's a lot more catching up that we have to do on the desktop. So there's going to be a lot of stuff there. There's going to be a lot of new features that are, like you said, only for the desktop that aren't necessarily going to improve the phone directly. But then again, there's going to be a lot of under the hood stuff that is going to improve both also. Plus, we're going to keep shipping phones. And I would imagine that we're going to keep developing new features and new designs for that. So I don't see any reason why we're going to neglect or even really slow down the pace of phone development going forward. All right, that is the end of my questions list. If I missed any, please feel free to re-ask them. Going through and asking all the QA ones and then going back, I wouldn't be surprised at all if I missed any. Just again, ask them with the word question in all caps at the start. And while I wait for any of those to come in, I'll give the regular plug. We do these Q&As every week, Tuesday at 1700 UTC. I just fixed our calendar so that it should always be 1700 UTC. It is always on ubuntuonair.com. You can watch this video anytime after the broadcast. It's recorded and available again on YouTube. You can watch any of the videos that we've recorded as part of Ubuntu On Air on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ubuntuonair. And you can also get updates about upcoming shows if you follow us on Twitter at Ubuntu On Air. In addition to the community team Q&A, we do a lot of regular cloud sessions. I think there's some other community sessions that use this. We've done keynotes from the Ubuntu Online Summit on here. So there's all kinds of great content, both in the past, again, on YouTube, and in the future that will be coming up. So definitely keep an eye on this space. All right, and we have one more question come in. I think that one's going to be the last one because we're about out of time. It's from Nightmare. He asks, do you feel that maybe canonical Ubuntu might be getting spread a bit thin due to the workload? We are definitely working at capacity. Nobody's slacking either at Canonical or in the community. I don't think we're being spread too thin. I think we've spread to the point where we can just cover the things that we're committed to covering. So I don't think we can spread very much more from here without expanding both employees and people in the community. But I think we're in a good spot right now. We've got realistic goals. We know the pace of work that we can do. We've recently been refocusing the way we work internally to make sure that we're keeping on track with these things, that we're making good estimates on what work we can get done in what time frame. And I think that's helped us improve quite a bit over the last year. Our focus on testing has really helped us catch any regressions and get a good view on the quality of what we're building as we build it. So I think we're in a good spot. I think we have a lot of work ahead of us, definitely, but I'm confident that we'll be able to get it all done in the time frame we need to get it done in. All right, 2 more questions. Does the QA team have a weekly meeting? I'm sure they have regular meetings. I don't think they're on Ubuntu On Air. Again, go to #ubuntu-quality. That is their IRC channel, and ask them in there. if they have public meetings, it's likely going to be in that channel. Chameleon asks, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? And of course, Aikidoki has the follow-up of an African swallow or a European swallow. All right, well, that's a great way to wrap this up. Thank you, everybody, for coming and asking your questions. And I wanted to thank again the QA guys for taking time out of their very busy sprint to come on and answer questions and give us an update. Again, we will be back in a week's time. It will likely not be me. It'll probably be one of my colleagues, Daniel, David, or Alan, doing this, or a combination of those three. But come back again next week, Tuesday, 1700 UTC, for another round of updates and questions. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.